Hi everybody, this is Steve Ludwig, host of Steve Ludwig's Classic Pop Culture and the Beatles Hour with Steve Ludwig at planetludwig.com. Here's an interview we did with Sir Monty Rock III on August 14th, 2016, show number 109. To hear the entire show, check out the menu at planetludwig.com. And now, please enjoy the interview. Our very special guest has sold over 7 million copies of that song, Get Dancing, that wonderful song, in '73, when he assumed the persona of Disco-Tex and his Sexalettes. But before that groundbreaking disco-era song, those of us of a certain age knew Sir Monty Rock III from his many appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, The Merv Griffin Show, The Mike Douglas Show, and countless others. His appearances on those shows never ceased to entertain, and whenever he appeared on the shows, their ratings took a jump up, because Sir Monty would say anything he wanted, and he was delightfully outrageous. He's the host of the Monty Show, which broadcasts from Las Vegas. Speaking of Vegas, hey, do you want to get married? The Reverend Monty Rock III will perform the service. Sir Monty was working on a documentary of his amazing life when, sadly, he was beset with personal tragedy, the passing of his beloved partner of 42 years, Bruce. Bruce's untimely passing temporarily postponed production on this documentary, but now Sir Monty is ready to resume work on it. He started a Kickstarter program to help with the financial aspect of the project, and we're going to talk all about that and so much more of his incredible life. It's an honor, a privilege, and a personal dream come true to welcome to classic pop culture the legend himself, Sir Monty Rock III. Welcome, Sir Monty.
Hey, good morning from here, Las Vegas. Good morning. To all your listeners, this has been maybe only the second one I've done. I've been very low-key since the passing of Bruce, and this morning I had a call from New York City from one of the producers of the show, and Artie Rip, called about releasing a record. So we have we're trying to get everything moving again. So it's been very difficult. The grieving process has been hard.
Your whole world must have stopped.
Well, it's not that. We were doing the film, right. The Life and Times of Monty Rock III. You can YouTube and see it all, but we were doing that. Plus, I finished my autobiography, which changed when Bruce died. I have a publishing deal, felt the book was not really dealing with the 60s and 70s, where I was at the height of my fabulousness. Okay, I think the 60s and 70s were my era, you know?
Mm-hmm. Perfect word, by the way.
Because the era that, before social media and before all this went down, what most people don't understand is I really was a hairdresser in New York City, a hairdresser, #1 in the world, and going to Paris and living the world. And fame came too fast. It came... Johnny found me first, but in 62, 63,
mm-hmm.
I was like a Lady Gaga, I was very all over the place, show business, small clubs, jet set.
Multifaceted, I think, is a fair
Multifaceted,
word,
yeah. And you don't know when you're that young and it's thrust upon you, you really don't know how to react to it. You want the fame. But I gave up a big industry. I gave up hairdressing and salons and money, houses to pursue this. It wasn't my passion. It was just that I wanted to be famous, whatever that was about in those days.
Mm-hmm. May I go back just a bit? How did you become a hairdresser? How did that all begin?
Okay, I was 17 years old. Just by chance, I went to hairdressing school, Ingrid School of Hair Design, and she took a liking to me. Right off the bat, I went to work for Walter Florell. At the age of 19, I was doing all the models. I was doing fashion shows, Hairdo Magazine, Bazaar, Avedon. I became like the rebel with a comb in New York City. Really rebel. Very famous, and had salons and had all this accolades, went to Europe. But I was bored with it. I was bored with the one dimension of being a hairdresser, having the perfect, in those days, having a house in the country. It was very boring to me. So one day I got up and decided to become a singer, but I was a singer in church. So it was a long, it happened kind of like very fast, furious, famous. Met Trudy Heller, went downtown. Barbara Streisand was at Bonsoir. I was at Trudy Heller. It became like Cafe Society in those days.
Mm-hmm. Quite a quick trip for Joseph Jose Montañez from the Bronx.
Yeah, but it came fast. It came fast and furious. And I had a press agent. I knew about press, but this is before social media. You become famous then. It was really the newspapers, and it was much more different, much more of an innocent time. If you discovered then, you had something unique. Now there are a lot of Monty Rocks in the world. Not then. You know what I mean?
Monty, you were, I remember when I used to watch you more on Merv Griffin, because back here in New York, the show was on earlier. But every time you were on, my parents, my older brother and I used to sit down and say, what is Monty going to say today? You were just you still are, an incredible entertainer. We never knew what to expect, and that was the delight and the pleasure of watching you.
Well, Johnny was the best straight man in the business. Merv and I were nice, but they never really connected. Arthur Treacher liked me very much. Arthur Treacher, an old movie star, kind of connected with me more. But
Johnny was your guy. You preferred Johnny over Merv?
Oh, yeah. Genius. I had a lot of problems with the producers because I was kind of didn't want to do the show. I was under contract to NBC, but I was really kind of like, one day I wanted to do it, one day I didn't want to do it. I was very kind of not happy with where the show was taking me to. So it was really a difficult time. It was difficult to manage then. And now that my Bruce is gone, now we're looking for brand new management. We're looking for a new agency to handle us. So we're looking for younger people to help us, which maybe you'll help this interview. We're looking for younger people. I do want to perform again, but I also am very careful with the health issues that plague me with my breathing and my partner passing away and left with all these, expenses and stuff. So I'm being very careful right now with the book and the film.
Oh, yeah.
And the Broadway show.
Now, if I may, listeners who want to contribute to this Kickstarter program, they're just to go to Kickstarter.com.
Yeah, they go to Kickstarter, and we give them a T-shirt, we give them a piece of the show. Go to Kickstarter, look it up. There'll be two other fundraisers, but Kickstarter is going to start it. And it's a part of the film. The film is almost finished. The film, when Bruce passed away, we had almost got it ready. What happened was the 7 weeks before he died, we had a problem with the producers and the writers because I felt that my life wasn't being portrayed. My life wasn't what I want the world to know. The world should know that my whole life has been one of courage, survival. No one in show business ever thought I'd survive the industry, but I did.
Survival is putting it mildly from what I've read and seen on YouTube, Sir Monty. Really, I mean, boy.
I'm the only guy that came to Vegas in 1968, 69, with Jay Sarnoff, who built Caesar's Palace. He had hired Evel Knievel to jump the fountains. He missed and broke 40 bones. He said, he sees me on TV. He hired that Fagala, and he's going to bring him in. So they bring me to Vegas, and I fell flat on my face. I'd never been in a big show, but it became controversial. Johnny loved the story. It became part of the legend, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what I mean, this is maybe a rhetorical question, and forgive me, but what was it like? I mean, you were pretty openly gay. You didn't really try to hide anything, like some people unfortunately were forced to. What was that like living with in the 60s and 70s?
Because I was never... my opinion of being gay is that... I don't know. I felt that it never bothered me. It never... it's being a gentleman. It's not who you are, it's what you are as a gentleman. Non-intrusive. Let's not Yeah, I was gay, but nobody really alluded to it because I was a very strange personality.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't let the gayness get in the way. And I mean, now the gays are all gay, but when I was gay, nobody was gay, you know? So it was like I was the first gay, openly gay guy in television and movies, you know what I mean?
Which I mean, as an outsider, that shows your toughness, boy. That you I mean,
Well,
you,
I'm from the Bronx. I'm from the
oh
Bronx.
yeah,
I'm a Puerto Rican from the Bronx.
you're a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. That's pretty much all we need to know. Now, your mom threw you out of the house at age 14. What was that?
Yeah, my
all
mother.
about?
My mother was a preacher. My mother and father were Pentecostal preachers, and I was raised to be this church guy. And they found that I was gay. They threw me out of the house. I went to Manhattan, and the rest is history. In the show that they're writing in the movie, I talk about survival, being in the streets of New York City, learning how to survive, becoming a hairdresser at 17, taking New York by storm. But I do feel that even now with Bruce Lee gone, my survival skills are all in place, that I have to always remember that in many ways I was one of the lucky ones because I was able, just 2 days ago, Artie Rip called to release a record. They're releasing my records. It's okay, you know, but I right now am dealing with the grieving, raising money for a film, the hardest thing is to find someone to represent me again. That's going to be the difficult one. Somebody younger, some company that can really go back to work. You know, Bruce managed me. He managed me.
Yeah.
He was my agent. He was my parent. He handled everything.
Yeah. You know what is tough about. Well, I lost both my parents. Thankfully, my wife and I are both healthy. But one thing about the grieving process is you can't put a time limit on it. You just have to go through it. It just has to happen. You have to write it out. So it's tough, I would imagine, just to get things together. And if you don't feel you're done grieving yet, you just don't feel like getting out of bed. It's got to be mind-boggling to have to get all these affairs in order. You know.
Well, the thing is, I am a survivor. So last night they called to see Jersey Boys because of Bob Crew, who produced my record. They're doing a show of Bob, and I'm trying to find something redeeming and quality about Bob that as my producer and friend. But you know, I'm trying to find now the kindness, the power of kindness, and not anger myself and Kenny Nolan and all the wars. I don't feel I have to fight anymore. I feel now, let's go on with life. You know, I want to go on with life and go on with surviving, performing again. I want to perform. You know, I want to perform again. You know?
Sir Monti, do you feel it may be kind of a crazy way that your mom throwing you out of the house may have been the best thing that happened to you, or at least kind of pushed you in to really get that survival persona or feeling?
In retrospect, I don't think so. I think that it was that I wanted to leave the house. I was ashamed of being gay. The church, Puerto Ricans in the Bronx. I'm a Puerto Rican boy. I felt like an outsider. You know, I felt, you know, just. Manhattan gave me, looking for the wizard, Manhattan gave me a whole new lifestyle. I learned very quickly about the streets of New York. I learned how to survive. I changed my name. The only thing I say in my film, the problem I always had is I couldn't get rid of my accent, even when I went to Hollywood. There's a great story about Henry Wilson. I thought I was gorgeous, and I was a big star in Hollywood in the 60s after the Tonight Show, and I worked at Red Velvet, and I think it was Sal Mineo and I think David Cassidy took me to meet his agent called Henry Wilson, who had Tab Hunter, Anthony Perkins, Rock Hudson, and Rhonda Fleming. And I'm saying to this guy, he must be perfect. At 11 o'clock in the morning, I drive this guy is drunk and burp, and his name is Henry Wilson. And he looks at my modeling book and says, oh, this guy is wrong in the wrong era. And I say, oh, and I start screaming. And then he tells these guys, besides, Mr. Rock has an accent. I said, tell me the truth, I have no accent. I speak perfect English. So he got to like me and told me about how to get in the film business. Henry Wilson told me that they're going to know. So he taught me how to get, how to audition, you know, how to get an agent. Hollywood was never my place to go. I did live there. I made some films. There's Saturday Night Fever in '76.
Oh, we'll talk about that in a bit, sure.
But I did a lot of film. I did a lot of Tonight shows. But I could never find nobody could find what to do with me except for television. A lot of commercials. I modeled for a while, and then I had that thing of trying to find my niche. And Bob Crew at the age of 32 gave me I did a lot of records, but created Disco-Tex and the Sexualettes.
Yeah,
millions of records, but I never got paid one time.
Oh you're kidding me! Not another story like this.
No,
oh my heavens! Over 7 million copies sold. You never got paid. How did?
No, I'm getting a little royalties. No, I never got paid. No. Creative bookkeeping.
First of all, for our listeners that may not be aware, Bob Crew, wrote so many of the great hits for the Four Seasons and so many others. How did you meet Bob Crew? And
I was 17. We were friends. We were good friends. We were never lovers friends.
Mm-hmm.
He was a very, gay out and fabulous writer and gorgeous man. And I had a brownstone, and I was a jet set kind of elegant queen that had models and society women. Bob was the other side of the coin. I was always the elegant one, the eloquent one. But when I got homeless in 1970, 71 I think, and he took me in and created Disco-Tex.
Mm-hmm.
Wes Farrell, who I was with my whole life, Wes Farrell was my record producer. Chelsea Records, part of Hologram. But again, I couldn't get out of that niche. I'm a singer, and I couldn't get out of that Disco-Tex. I didn't want to be a disco queen.
May I interrupt again, Sir Monti? Because for me, the greatness of that song is, yes, it's a disco song, disco era song, but that's as good a rock and roll song as I've heard as well. It crosses genres.
One of the great tracks, and it was a live track. That's before digital. That was 1972, 73. That was done live. Nothing of that was digital. That was all live.
Yeah, I remember even saying during the song, "Rock and roll is here to stay," because there are a lot of
here to stay. My chiffon is wet. but the year again was, if you think about it, it's 1972, 1973. And to be famous then, as I see it, to be famous for being famous, which I always say was one thing, but this night show kept me alive.
Mm. Now you were on the Tonight Show, my goodness, over 80 times, if I'm not mistaken.
74 with reruns, yeah.
Oh my gosh, and I'll bet every time was a different adventure.
Well, it was a reality show before reality shows. Yeah. That's what I say.
What you know what?
It was a reality show.
Perfect point to bring up. With all the reality shows on TV, you are such a natural for a reality show.
We tried it.
And?
Well, we tried it, but I'm a columnist. I'm a weekly columnist.
Right.
I'm pretty tough when it comes to Vegas. This is the Third Coast. Hard to survive here, what I do.
Yeah.
No, we tried it. We tried it from New York. We tried it. It's hard to, because I had a home. Bruce and I were very private in our lives. Outside, I'm a character. If you see, I'm a character. The person you're speaking to is really who I am. Monty Rock, the third is Joseph Martinez Jr.
Right.
I separate them.
And the rest is showbiz.
The rest is showbiz.
Mm-hmm. But there can't be a soul in Las Vegas who doesn't know you. I mean, you are the king of Las Vegas.
But since this all happened, I'm much more grieving. I'm going out maybe today or the next day. I've been really kind of like finishing this book that's, going through a rewrite, the movie, which I know the world wants to see, because I'm telling what it was like to be this young guy in the 60s and what it was like to be in this industry before social media, before it all happened. I really was a force to be reckoned, because I didn't have an idea what it really was, what it entailed. I just knew that I had a certain drive, not a passion, a certain drive. And I'm a pretty good singer, but it wasn't singing going to do it.
there's a great many great videos on YouTube, but the one with your performance at Don't Tell Mom is in New York City.
That's really, I only did it in 1 hour. Never rehearsed.
When you sang Words, the Bee Gees' Words, I mean, many of the
songs, yeah.
Holy smokes! If that song wasn't written for you, I know it wasn't, but if that wasn't a perfect song for you,
I love the Bee Gees.
Oh, I love the Bee Gees.
I like your listeners to go to YouTube and look at, study, and see. And maybe what we are looking for now, maybe you can help us here. We're looking for a new agent and new management that would be in the East. It would have to be New York, not here. It has to be because we have so much with the film and the book. And to perform again, very only one-nighters. I will not do ever again. It's got to be one night here, one night there. Yep. I can't do it no more. But again, my manager was Bruce. My partner of life was my manager, my agent. He was like Renee, Celine has Renee. So Bruce managed everything, the image, the clothes, the whole thing.
Yeah.
So imagine how I feel now. I feel like a duck out of water.
Yeah, but you're a survivor, though, Monty. It's easy for me to say.
I'm a survivor.
Yeah, it's easy for me to say, but that's been so evident throughout your whole life. Now, if we go to Kickstarter.com, what do we search for? Monty Rock III, or the name of the movie, or?
You search just go to Monty Rock III. The beginning is Kickstarter.
Right. Okay.
Find out. We're trying to raise actually $50,000. The film, they're coming in a week. We're almost, where it's the editing thing, and then now I'm doing me now, the way I feel now about life. I'm being much more introspective about my survival. And the book, which I changed a bit, but I thank your listeners and people who want to Google Monty Rock III, Kickstarter, raising money. Maybe one donor. Maybe we get one guy to just donate everything.
Well, listen, with the way your career has gone and your life, that wouldn't surprise me. So, listeners, if ever Monty Rock III has made you happy or made you smile with his music, with his appearances, with his acting in Saturday Night Fever and the other movies, please consider donating to this great cause at Kickstarter.com. Just keep that in mind, everyone. When you've smiled because of Monty Rock III, I think it's pretty easy for us to give back a bit. So.
And whenever you need somebody to interview, you can call me anytime you want to, and we can talk about Vegas and what's happening in this wonderful place.
I would love. Can you give me a few more minutes?
Yeah, of course you can.
Oh, excellent, wonderful. You talked about how your life has really kind of changed and constantly changing, but you've been clean and sober for a number of years. Can we talk about those demons that you beat? Only because you mentioned it.
The demons were part of the pressure, and I feel the pressure of having to be on all the time. I slowly became a drug addict, from a drug addict, alcoholic. Although once in a while now, I do have a glass of wine once in a while.
Doctors say that's good for you, Monty, anyway.
Pardon me?
The doctors say that's good for you anyway.
Yeah, so I really went through this trip of just, it was too much, the pressure of the record business, the appearances, publicity. Keeping Disco-Tex alive was really hard for me and my partners. It wasn't until I did Saturday Night Fever in 1976 that my life really changed. Freddie Gershon and Robert, that film kind of helped me because it gave me a half a point. I made some money for a couple of years. I did a lot of the film. There was a Broadway show where they made me bigger on that, made other records. But I felt myself, Bruce, we went to Florida, where I opened a club and I worked a tiny bit. I needed time away from, I worked at Ruga for 8 years as well. I had a nightclub act. But at the Saturday Night Fever, you can't, that's like being Butterfly McQueen of Gone with the Wind. It's an incredible film.
First of all, how did you get the call to do that? You were perfect in the role.
I was in Mexico. I got a phone call. Do you want to do a movie? And the movie was Saturday Night Fever. Just one of those strange phone calls.
Do you think it was maybe kind of a ripple effect after your success with Get Dancing? Has
No.
Disco? No, okay.
I was in Hollywood, and I have a scandal or something happened. It was a big scandal. And I was notorious for scandals, my dear friend. So,
do you want to go into that, or no?
No,
okay.
It's the book, but something happened that kind of.
Yeah, let's keep some things for the book, right? Exactly.
Yeah. So there was a point that Hollywood and I were not gelling. One is that the parts got smaller, the TV shows got less, and then Bruce and I decided to travel. Worked at Ruba, became a nightclub act. Spent some time in Miami, but the career took a nosedive, and then I became kind of rent-a-star. I had a business where you could rent me out for a night, and you can get your hair done. I could amuse you. It cost you $1,000, but I traveled.
Get more than your hair done.
Right. And then we moved to Vegas, and here I became a columnist. I had a few shows. Here I'm a character, but I'm a columnist. I'm like Hedda Harbor type thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Is your column online or?
Gaming Today. You go to Gaming Today. What happened? We just got rid of the blog. We had everything going, but we had a guy, rip us off. So we just got rid of all. When Bruce died, I got rid of all the negatives, all the users. I decided I got to start all over. That's why we need a new company. We need new people, new blood. I had over 5 million followers, but it was just not making a dime off it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to let our listeners know too on our website here at planetludwig.com, we have links to the Kickstarter.com program and also MontyRockThe3rd.com, your website too, so they could just click on that and
the weddings. I do weddings.
Yes. Let's. Could you have ever thought, may even sound rhetorical now, but 10 years ago, that there would be marriage equality in our lifetime?
Well, something funny. I wouldn't marry Bruce on his deathbed. I'm a gay man. Bruce and I were together 42 years. He was dying, and I would not marry him on his deathbed. Out of integrity, I felt, no, this is not going to be done this way. We talked about it. We're a gay couple, but we were not going to do that. So that's why my survival skills had to kick in, because I had to get a Social Security, and I'm fighting all this stuff. But in the meantime, I am a survivor, so I'm able to survive, you know what I mean?
Oh, my goodness.
So it was really kind of a decision we both made. No, we're not doing it this way.
Mm-hmm. So it was mutually understood.
Yeah, we felt,
good.
No.
Yeah. But now, anyone coming to Las Vegas, you're an ordained minister, so that must be
I'm
going.
An ordained minister for a lot of years, yeah.
That must be going wonderfully. The
really.
Marriage, the marriage.
I do location weddings. I do Monty Rock. I put on, I do a lot of weddings.
Mm-hmm.
But the weddings are a sidebar, the column, and basically my main is the film and the Broadway show. The book is finished, so that's the name. The name for us is this film that I want out for my partner. It's The Life and Times of Monty Rock the Third. It really tells a great story about the Bronx boy who's thrown out of the house and survives.
What was John Travolta like? How's that for a segue?
Nicest man I ever met in the business.
Oh, is that right? Oh, boy, that's so great to hear.
The nicest man I ever met in the business.
You know why? Because too often, at least for me, people that I admire and I love him in Pulp Fiction, and of course in Grease and Saturday Night Fever. But when you hear that people you hope are good guys, that's great. And you have found that about him. Oh, good.
Nicest person I met in the business.
I love the scene in the movie when you kind of put him in his place, and I forget exactly the words, but get out there and get that girl that he has his eye on. You just didn't want to take any crap from him.
Dancing. But that was all I'd lived. There was no. They threw the script. John Bansom decided to let me use my own words. He didn't. He directed me, but let me use my own. I'm an actor, you know what I mean?
Oh my gosh! And that was so natural the way you acted in that movie. Oh, it was really wonderful. Now, Get Dancing, of course. I mean, oh my gosh, an international hit. Like I said, over 7 million, probably, and still counting. Worldwide. And you
Chelsea Polydor Polygram.
And you followed it up with I Want to Dance with You, which was another hit.
Dance with You. and then we did 3 albums.
At Disco-Tex, yeah. Hey,
but I had a problem always trying to find my niche as I'm a singer, and they didn't want me to sing. Wes Farrell and Gary Keldrum, Kenny Nolan. I had all the biggest producers in the world, but nobody would allow me. I wrote music. I really tried. I couldn't get out of that niche.
Well, could we, if you don't mind, would you mind introducing? I'd like for us to play right now. I Want to Dance with You, the follow-up to Get Dance. And
this is my second record. I Want to Dance with You. It's like an accent. I Want to Dance with You. Bob Crew, Kenny Nolan, Cindy Bullins. This is a record that went to number 10. I know that. So this is 1974.
It's that time. Showtime. Can you feel it? It's disco time, baby. The disco kid.
Do that, do that, do that, do that dance. Do that, do that, do that, do that dance. Do that, do that, do that. A little mama wanna dance. Do that, do that, do that, do that dance. Do that, do that, do that, do that dance. Do that, do that, do that. A little mama wanna dance.
I Want to Dance with You. That must have been tough to follow up, Get Dancing, but boy, that was a perfect choice.
And that was done in one day. That was I said with you, not with you.
With you, yep. W-I-T, with C-H-O-O, with you. The whole concept of the album I thought was clever. Just kind of like a live...
It was going to be a show, man. It was going to be a show, but I already was fighting with Bob. It was a concept show. I just was so upset with everybody at the time.
May I ask what you were at greatest odds with Bob about? Just creative differences?
I just didn't want to fall into a niche. I fell
Yeah.
into a niche, and I didn't want the niche.
Yeah. I think, you know what, Monty, any genre of music that you would have chosen to go into. I mean, your cabaret show, like I said, at Don't Tell Mamas in New York City.
That's where I belong. That's my genius.
Oh, my gosh. It was so natural.
But Bob wanted me to be a Broadway, whatever it was. I couldn't fight the industry. I couldn't fight. Once they found West Farrell and my agency didn't want me, except for Ruth Bond. But it was hard for me to break out of that. You mean?
Yeah. You know, you mentioned, too, before we listened to I Want to Dance With You, that Disco-Tex and the Sex Celeste, you recorded 3 albums. What can you tell us about the other 2? One was huge in China.
Manhattan Millionaire, that was Kenny Nolan, but they took all the girl voices off. I was upset. 2 hits out of it, but I never talked about it. 3rd album was Gary Kelderum, who owned a record plant with West Farrell. And it was my best album, but he died in the middle of production. You mean?
Was that Manhattan Millionaire or?
No, it's a Piece of the Rock.
Oh yes, right. Okay, Manhattan Millionaire was second. Okay.
Yeah.
When I mentioned a couple of minutes ago to your Don't Tell Mama's YouTube video, it's about 45. And listen, everyone, on YouTube, just search for Monty Rock III. You have a great array of videos up there. And during your act, the only reason why I'm bringing this up is because you said it publicly. You had, as a younger man, a somewhat promiscuous lifestyle. What was it about Bruce that told you, you know what, this is the guy for me?
He loved me. He cared for me. He took care of him and his brother. Saved my life at the end of 76. I just couldn't handle the recording business. I had done a few more films. I was ready. I got fired from a Broadway show. I was just at the end. I had money, and I just didn't want to go on with my life. And Bruce was my bodyguard and best friend and his brother. And he loved me unconditionally. He loved me like a parent, gave me a home, gave me a life, took over the business. I was able to function.
I'm assuming he made you feel like a person, too, where others
like a human being, yeah. Made up with my parents, yeah, and we traveled the world, and I was able to enjoy, traveling Europe, and, we had for gay people, we had a great romance. We had New York dinner parties. We traveled the world away from being Monty Rock. Then I could be Monty Rock, you know what I mean? But as Joey Martinez, and he and I lived a very private, elegant life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's amazing to me. I mean, you've come. You're such a positive person. For all the users that you must have come up with in life, I don't know if I could be as positive as you.
You have to be. You have to be a survivor. You got to be a survivor. You got to think every life. No, you have to be a survivor. You got to survive.
Yeah. And my goodness, have you ever? I can't wait to read your book as well. Now, this is a little off topic, but what was Timothy Leary like?
I did his wedding. You saw the wedding.
Yes, that's where I got the idea for the question on YouTube. The Timothy Leary.
It's on YouTube, that movie?
Yeah, about 8.5 minutes.
Penny Baker
right.
done the film.
Mm-hmm.
And I was angry because I thought it'd be all about me, but they found out that my driver was taking me out to do Tim Leary's wedding. Nena von Starberg is Una Thurman's mother, whose hair I did at Nena. Mm-hmm. Nena was a great big model, and that was Charlie Mingus, and that was Peggy Hitchcock. The filmmaker was doing a film on me and my opening at Trudy Heller's. That turned around to become more about the wedding than about me, and I was very upset.
Yeah.
Although it won I wasn't able to watch it until about 15 years ago. I never watched it.
It's very, very cool video.
Won awards, but I was just not interested because it wasn't about me.
Yeah. That's understandable.
I got furious because they ran months of, the debut Monty Rock, the hairdresser, yada, 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 and it became Tim Leary's wedding, and I got pissed.
Yeah, I would too. There's another example of maybe not being used, but being told one thing and then finding out that that's not the way it turned out. Something.
Yeah, and it was hard because I had just done a film called 2,000 Years Later with Bert Tenzer. A year later, a film that's going to release now. I mean, I was doing a lot of film, a lot of comeback show with Buster Crabbe. I was doing a lot of kind of in stuff because I hated Andy Warhol. I didn't want to do anything underground.
Is that right?
So I couldn't stand him. I couldn't handle him. So I decided if I'm going to be a star, I'm going to be above ground. I'm going to be NBC, CBS, Paramount. I was not going to be an underground star. That's one of my choices, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What about Andy Warhol? Just too pretentious for you, or not a real person, or
Didn't like him.
didn't like him?
Did not like him.
That's a good. You know what? The gut instinct. You knew that there was something about him you didn't like.
Did not
That's
like
enough.
him.
Yep. Now, also on YouTube, some of your Monti shows are on YouTube.
That was being done here. That was in New York, and here there was a pilot
Yeah, tell us about that.
we were doing, and I still want to do it, but I want to do everything. I'm trying to find someone again on the internet because I was doing it here. Just look, maybe for this 8 months ago, I fired everyone. Bruce and I had all these problems, people taking advantage of us, and we decided, no, this is not going to work. And we had millions of, and the guy was ripping us off. We just cut it out. I cut out Facebook. I cut out everything until now that I'm back. You know, you're my first interview, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you.
4 months, really.
Thank you.
First interview.
I'm very. I feel very privileged to speak with you, regardless. But it's. I mentioned to you just, off microphone that I said to myself, don't be a fanboy when you're speaking with Sir Monty Rock
you're a
III. But I can't
you're a
help it,
gentleman.
Monty. I mean, I loved you from the first time I saw you. Like I said,
Okay.
Merv Griffin, Johnny Carson. Oh, and one other thing before we say goodbye, just so our listeners understand too. I'm trying to bring myself back. The talent that you have. When I first heard "Get Dancin'" and Disco-Tex and the Sexalettes, I had no idea it was you. I said, wow, this is a great song. I love this song. And then suddenly, because there was no social media, you just heard it on the
They
radio.
didn't want to use my name. I told you that. There was
Yeah.
a whole big legal problem. There was a big problem. I'm telling you, the film is about how they were going to try to replace me. It was a big to do with the recording industry, and they kept coming back to me. But before that, they were trying to replace me. I raised $28,000 on my own. It wasn't their money; it was mine. I raised all the money.
But I just remember thinking when I found out that Disco-Tex was Monty Rock III, I remember saying to myself, "This guy is unbelievable. He's like the Energizer Bunny. He just keeps on going, and it's such a real testament to your talent and to your stick-to-itiveness." And I want to, before we say goodbye, I want to make sure our listeners know once again it's Kickstarter.com.
Kickstarter raised money for a film called The Life and Times of Monty Rock. Almost finished editing.
That's great.
You get a T-shirt, you get a piece of the film. You're part of history of years of a lot of footage of the beginning of the boy from the Bronx who really survived the streets of New York City, survived hairdressing and salons and Fabergé and Paris.
And users, people who
and
used
users and abusers, of course. And then you meet somebody like a Bruce, my partner, who absolutely took care of everything. I mean, I never wrote a check in 42 years. It managed me. I was able to function as out of the house as Monty Rock. At home, I was Joey Montanez. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Boy, you know what another dream come true would be for me, Sir Monty, is once the film is out and I've seen it, I would love to speak to you again about it.
You will.
Oh, that's great to hear. I can't find the words to thank you, really, for allowing me to speak with you.
Your listeners, you're great. I thank you. The first one I've talked to, this is really me. Help me with the film. Help me with this movie. It's a gift to my partner of 42 years. It's a movie that has to be finished.
And
a story that must be told. A story that must be told.
And Sir Monty Rock has made us all so happy with his songs and his persona. Please contribute to the project. I know I'm going to. And Sir Monty Rock III, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you so
God
much.
bless you, and thank you to your listeners and you, okay?
Okay. But take care now. Hope we speak again.
God bless.
Okay, bye.